perception of self. Benwave isn't necessarily a thing you achieve. Rather, it is a state of mind which you constantly strive toward. This all comes from an understanding that ideas aren't static, but fluid, like water. Be like water.
Alrighty. Alrighty, there we are. There we are. About 5 minutes there. Everything seems stable after the stream kinda shat the bed for a little bit there. First loading up and it just hiccuped all over the place. There's probably like 3 10-second VODs on the channel now. Whatever. Whatever. I'm back. I'm back after missing, definitely missing Friday, which is definitely missing because I almost always stream Fridays, but then also missing Saturday. I had intended to try and stream on Saturday, but it did not happen. Life gets busy. Life gets super busy, so. But it doesn't matter because I'm back. I'm back and we're going to do some writing. I'm going to do some writing today. And let's see here. Hopefully. Okay, yep. I think everything's good to go. Hell, I don't know. Who's supposed to, how is anyone supposed to know this stuff? I don't. But at any rate, we're going to do some writing today. And I've been kind of bouncing back and forth about what I wanted to work on today. Because I really want to keep mapping out some potential missions like we've been doing. Because I want to get that outline done. For me, having that outline sort of taken care of and already done with makes it much less stressful to think about moving forward with the rest of the writing process for just about anything. Because even these missions that I do have the outline finished for, it's hard for me to be super stoked immediately about fleshing out details for any of these, knowing that I have a lot of stuff that isn't even conceptualized yet. And the reason is because I've talked a lot about how I like to try and intertwine things if I can. So if I don't know where everything is as far as their own self-contained things, it's really hard. I know, hi sweetie. I know. Kitty's being very cute right now. I know, I hear you over there, even through my headphones. What was I saying? Shit. Right, yeah, so even... So knowing what each mission is going to be like within its own sort of self-contained existence makes it much easier to then think about where those interaction points could be. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking about here. And so I feel like that's why I want to just kind of keep trying to chip away at getting this outline taken care of that we've been working on. Because I think once I have that set, I will generally feel I'll just feel more aware of what exists in this world that we're working on and what to do about that, you know, and like I say, where the potential interaction points could be when designing more missions. So, no, go away. Stupid. Everything's an advertisement, for crying out loud, man. I hate that. I hate that. Sheesh, computer, be careful with that crap. You're going to send me on a tangent for 2 hours straight. No one's going to want that. No one. So, we left off. Let's see, I need to open up my map. It's my map. Load that up. Here we are. So I was working on... I had started the idea of the Yuan-Ti cult thing is sort of what I had thought of, and I basically thought of, I had come up with what I've basically figured out what the first stage would be, and then what the final stage would be, and I think I have an idea about what I want the main interactions to be. And what I think I want it to be, so this mission that we're working on with the pattern that I've outlined it in the past, and so just for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through the detailed description, but essentially this one is going to have 7 sort of story beats, 7 dungeons for the players to interact with regarding this story outline. And we have 1 being our first place, and then 7 being our final, which means I've got 5 more things to fill out. And what I think I want to do with this one is just have it kind of be a wild goose chase. We're showing up at that first one, you know, showing up at the first location. Basically what it is, actually, just, you know, just so we're all on the same page. What this mission is going to be is we have a guy who went missing because he wanted to go out and be an adventurer. And so he had heard about a temple, like he, you know, in some way, shape, or form, heard about a temple that he thought might be a good place to go looking for some treasure and stuff. So he goes out there and doesn't come back. And weeks go by and he doesn't come back. So this guy's brother takes out a missing persons ad with the local medieval the medieval newspaper. I don't know. And says like, hey, my brother's missing. If there's anyone who's, gonna go out, you know, if you'd be willing to look into where the hell my brother went, I'd be appreciative of that. And so, you know, the players can accept that job and go out and try to find this guy. And when they go out to that first location that the guy was going to go to, they find a temple that has some of the Yuan-Tis, and they basically find the first clue that he accidentally got himself into a little bit of trouble by finding finding that this temple has like a dormant snake people cult, essentially. And so then what I'm thinking I'm gonna do for it is have it so that they're going to, at this first location, there's going to be basically a wall mural that'll have a map outlining a whole lot of other temples dotted around the area. And it's basically just a wild goose chase on if they find the right place or not. And I want to make it so that players can essentially go to any of these temples that they want to go to at any time. So this one's going to be much less linear than a lot of the others. And whether or not they just sort of accidentally wind up at one that they're ready for or not is just going to be based on chance. And so it's entirely possible for them to go to a place that's like way over their head, so they got to think like, okay, well, we can't do this one. Maybe if we go check this other place, try to look for this guy. And it just concludes when they happen to go to that final location where the guy actually is, because he was sort of corrupted and magically transformed into a Yuan-Ti, one of the Yuan-Ti abominations, if that means anything to anyone, specifically within the rules. And, you know, they basically, like, he's just been corrupted, and, yeah, I mean, you know, the rule of yes and, if players want to try to find some way to magically cure him, then as long as you're just kind of aware of magic and how it works within the lore of your world, then you can allow them to do that. Or they just have to fight the guy, and that's that, and they find, you know, like, I'm thinking the baseline will be if they fight and kill that guy, they'll find a little trinket or an amulet around his neck or something that is that's like some sort of clue that will tell players like, oh, this guy was the brother, and then they can go back to the brother that took out the ad and say like, so we found your family member and then we had to kill him, and I know it's a bit of a bummer, but you know, just do stuff like that. So I kind of that's essentially what I want it to be. And so what I'm actually going to do for the outline here is I'm going to do Yuan-Ti temples. Yeah, we're going to say Yuan-Ti temples, and not all of them are going to be populated by Yuan-Ti either. Some of them are going to be dormant, and some of them are going to have been awakened. And so, like, that's essentially what the idea is, that players will be chasing this guy around trying to catch up with him at the places that he has been versus the places that he hasn't been, is sort of the idea that I have here. So Yuan-Ti temples, and we're going to do level 2 through 6, right? So there's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so let's see here. Let me just there are also hints. Map of I'm gonna change how I've worded this here, because it talks about how he found, there's hints that he found, uncovered a map, and we're just gonna do a mural on the floor of the temple. Okay, and so that's basically what it's going to be, is just, you know, logically anyway, that's what it is, players trying to catch up to him. And it just so happens that he's going to be at this, you know, the awakened temple, you know, level, the final level 7 boss fight one. So they could skip it, especially if they've already leveled up beyond, beyond what they would need to be able to get to level 7. Then, bada bing, bada boom, there they go. It's good to go. So I'm just gonna type out. Okay, this mission is not linear in nature. Players will be given a list of all the other temples, and we're going to do including the final temple. And they are free to explore them in whatever order they choose. Boom. Choose each temple set level, so it's possible for players to reach the temples out of order. Actually, I'm going to say the temples not in order of level difficulty. There we go. Yeah. Let's say I wanted to add, that's what I was kind of blanking out trying to think about wording. Some will have already been awakened by Apophis. That's what I decided to name the guy. His name is Apophis. His brother is Mosi. They're important actors in this one. Let's see here. And we'll have Yuan T wandering around. Others will still be dormant and house only wildlife. There we go. Okay, so I need to plop down. I think I need to plop down 6. I don't think I put down the first one actually. I know we've got our sort of main one there. Also wanted to go through. I kind of want to, I guess I'm not gonna worry about it now, but I really want to change and make all of these icons a bit more universal. And I want to, with all of the titles there, I want to give them like actual names rather than names as they are relevant to the missions that they're part of, because I want to be able to provide players with a labeled map, so that way I can say, oh, you're gonna go to this city. Excuse me. So you're gonna go to this city, and there's where you're gonna find this, that, or the other thing. But it doesn't help if I have it on the map labeled corrupted oasis, like we can see right there, because it's just a little transparent that there's probably something important and dark and twisted happening there. And the goal is just to make it so that players could look at this map and see a bunch of places to go, but have no way of knowing whether or not they're safe or not, beyond just the metagame of them knowing what setting we're in, and that, of course, it's going to be dangerous. But you are just hamming it up over there, kitty. Yeah, you are. You're being just a little ham. Rolling around asking me to scratch your belly. I know it. This cat, she's very needy. Yeah, you are. But that's okay, because you're cute and you're fluffy and I like you. Yeah, you get away with a lot of stuff around here. Although not eating the plants. You got yelled at the other day by me. Little brat has been getting in the habit of chewing on my plants when she's hungry and it's not dinner time yet. Like, that's her rebellion. So I had a bit of a yell at her, and she hid under the couch for about 20 minutes after that. But we're okay now, as you can see by her little ears. You can see her little ear here. Yeah, We're okay now. As long as you don't keep eating my plants, big jerk. Anywho, we are working on plopping. Oops, there we go. Working on plopping down just a few random temples. Oh, I know, kitty. Oh, I know. You're a sweetheart. I know it. I know it. Okay. Symbols. Just gonna find a random little temple one. Looks kind of like a church or a temple. Hamlet Church, although I want to find the outline version of it. There we go. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards using these things just because there's a decent variety here, but then they kind of keep a consistent, consistent, you know, visual theme going on. Because I feel like I'm getting a little wild and crazy with the themes. I mean, I could keep using these things as well, and they serve the purpose. But I'm actually not a fan of the aesthetic of how, like, crisp they all are. I like the more hand-drawn aesthetic of all of these. So even though this is all a little less thematic for like a desert Serengeti type of setting, I'm kind of leaning towards using these instead. I also like the size of them. I think the size is a bit more appropriate because some of these feel pretty big given the scale of how I want the map to be. So, I know, little girl. She's being my co-writer or editor or something. I don't know. Either way, you're being just adorable as all get out. I know. This is devolving fast into listen to me gush about my cat on stream for too long. Which I suppose are worse things to stream, right? I mean, at least I'm happy. So let me see here. I need to think about where I want to put the Yuan-Ti temples. Like I say, I want to just dot them around. I want to dot them around and have them be just sort of in like random places, truthfully. Like maybe we'll go ahead and put one. Here we go. Oops. Dang it. I always do that. Get rid of that. You know, maybe we can put one over here. Just like a random little thing. And then label. And we'll do this. No. Not Lancelot. We're doing Bilbo. It's gotta be Bilbo. Is it gonna... It's gonna do the weird annoying thing where it like takes away. There we go. Okay. Yuan-Ti Temple. So one hiccup I've realized about my maps. Hey, how's it going? Nice, yeah. Good to see ya. One thing I've realized about my map, and I realized this, not new camera spot, just adjusted it. It was recommended that it might be more visually appealing if I mirror image it, so that way it looks like my camera version of me, like up here or over there in the corner. I don't know how to point at it. Like, yeah, like the camera version of me is like looking into the stream rather than looking away from it like it was before. And I was like, that's a decent suggestion. So I did it, and I don't dislike it, so I'm leaving it there because I don't want to change it again. So, but thank you for noticing. Hopefully, it's pleasant enough to look at. I mean, it's only going to be so pleasant because it's my ugly mug you got to stare at, but a little self-deprecation there. Always disarming. So, like I was saying, one thing that I have to do, I don't actually, wait, hold on, what was I don't even remember what the hell I was saying. Oh, yeah. One thing that I have to do, or I have to think about, is with these maps, because I'm making them such high detail, putting them online using Foundry, as we learned this weekend when we had a session. makes it so that the online servers can't always load things if there are too many pixels. So I may have to drastically reduce the quality of a lot of these when putting them on Foundry to have them actually be loadable and interactable for players. So it's something that I might have to experiment with. But I'm going to worry about that a different day because there's no way I'm starting this all over again. I've already put so much effort into this. It's going to be what it is, even if I just have to upload a PNG of it that's really low quality as opposed to using this actual map just for this one. And there we go. Oh, you guys are getting to your big bad. Like, are you talking big bad endgame there, Nicia? Going for like the final boss, or is this just like a midpoint boss? That's awesome. Blue Dragon, Polymorph. Ooh. Nice. Final boss. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's always exciting when you get to the end game. There's a lot of excitement and satisfaction when you can get to that stage in a campaign. There's definitely something satisfying about that, and it sounds like it's gonna be a pretty cool one for you guys. So I'm happy for you. Congrats to you and your group getting there. Took you 4 months. 4 months. All right. Level? Did you start at? So you saying you're at level 15? Did you guys start at level 1, or did you guys start a little higher? Let's see. Where's my thing? Where's my little Hamlet Church? So we got 1, 2. I needed to put down 6 of these temples. So to keep track of everything. We'll maybe do. So we'll do 1 down there, 1 way over there. We'll put 1. Maybe there's like a little, like Riverside. Oh, here we go. We can put 1. Oh, wait, no. Wait. Was that the? Maybe I only need to put. Hold up. What the hell did I write last time? I don't even remember all the crap that I did. Was that for this, or was that for something else? I don't remember. Well, we'll put a little temple there, and I think we'll just have that be one of the locations. So just put a little temple. We'll just put a little temple guy there. Just put that little guy there. Just put him right there. It's great. Oh, wow. So you guys really leveled up fast then. You guys must have been playing a lot if you got to level 15 in 4 months. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Let's see here. I'm gonna label. Oops, there we go. Give me a label. UNT Temple. Let's see. I need to like. Oops. No, that's not what I wanted. Get rid of that. I want to grab this guy. Oh my goodness. God. There we go. Okay, there we go. Whew. I was about to get all kinds of miffed at the system here. What we're going to do is we're just going to change the curvature, and we're going to put that over top there. Because I think they're all going to be the same thing ultimately. But for now, while I'm trying to organize things, yeah. Gotcha. So you guys are doing like a really action heavy one, and that's how you guys level up so fast. That makes sense. Leveling definitely happens quicker if games are really heavily focused on doing like combat and action. So that makes a lot of sense. Let's see here. Maybe we'll go ahead and just put like a temple over here near the corrupted oasis for the other one, right? Like, cause like I say, I want to have a lot of potential interaction points where players can just like come across these areas. Yuan Tai Temple. Get our curvature going this way again because we've got some intersecting things. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 2 more. We gotta get 2 mores. Alright, yeah, go get some sleep, you night owl. Holy crap, staying up late on a weeknight. Thanks for stopping by, though. I appreciate you stopping in to say hey. Always nice to hear from you. Let's see here. I haven't done like anything with up around this area of the map. Although actually this would be kind of a fun one, just like a little thing on that island there. We could put like one right there. I just want them spread out. It would be kind of funny to put like one right here, not far from the final one, because that's our final. Down there, one over there on that island. Let's put one right up over here on this little peninsula. And then we want a Labile. Place a Labile. UN. Oops, dang it, I keep doing the space. UN template. And then let's get our curvature where we need it there. Yeah, I have to kind of decide how I want the scale of all of this to look as well. Because right now things are all over the place. But again, I'm kind of trying to not worry too much about that right now. We're just doing our rough first draft, and then we'll edit the poop out of it. We'll edit it so much that there's no poop left in it. We'll edit the poop out of it. As is tradition. Alrighty, so we've got that one. I need one more. One more template. Let's see here. Where am I going to put this template? Kind of got a lot of the corners covered. Kind of just want to plop one like smack in the middle of nothing here. Kind of make players guess and think maybe that's the final one. Because we got 1, 2, we got the one on the island there. Yeah, I feel like that's a good spot. Why not? Well, why not, right? We can make up an excuse for why someone would ever build a temple there later. UNT temp. Okay. Let me make sure I've got these. I counted that right, and we've got all the ones that we need here. Zoom. Oops. That's what we want. Zoom in. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Although that's the final one, so really that can kind of count. 5, 6, and then wait. 1, 2, 3. There should be 7 total if we count the first and last places. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, okay, there are 7. I don't know what one I missed on counting before, but we got the 7 there. Okay, so that outlines them, and that pretty much takes care of this one. Simple and straightforward. Not everything needs to be this like really complicated political intrigue type of situation. Sometimes it's just like, hey, we're chasing the bad guy, and it's a wild goose chase. We don't know what's going on. So let's do another one. What I want to do, so okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go back to D&D Beyond as always. Again, I am not sponsored by them, but I do recommend them. It is a very handy resource, especially for a DM who needs just quick, searchable access to all kinds of stuff D&D. I absolutely love them, and I have to imagine that most people who are advanced enough to be, writing and creating a campaign as a DM would have to imagine they would be aware of D&D Beyond already. At any rate, I had an idea, and I kind of had a realization this weekend. I was just kind of staring at my map. Sometimes I'll pull it up and I won't even end up writing anything. I'll just end up staring at it. And I realized that when we're looking at this, we're getting full up in a lot of these land areas for missions here. And I was kind of thinking to myself, like, man, how is this already so crowded? Like, I feel like I'm already running out of space. And it occurred to me, it's because I only have half the map to work with. I'm only working with half the hex, right? We have all of this area over here. We're talking about D&D. All kinds of weird-ass frickin' magic going on here. And we've got kind of the idea of one underwater thing with the why am I blanking on it? The rift, the Terran reality. We already have that going on over here with the whirlpool. That was the word I was looking for. With the whirlpool, oops, over here, the ocean planar tear. But we've only got one thing, and we've got all this water, and we've got so many cool potential situations that could call upon players to end up exploring underwater areas. And it just seems so ridiculous to not be utilizing all of that. So, what I want to do is I need to check my consistency, my challenge levels here first. So we're going to work on our level 6, like ending at level 6 level challenge mission here. So our boss should be a CR7 again. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to look at coastal and underwater monsters, challenge range 7. And see what kind of bosses we can come up with. Wow, there's only one option. That's exciting. What if we lower it to 6? What if we include level 6? Okay, we got Cyclops, which is coastal. That's a bummer. I was hoping there would be more. Let's expand. Oops, no, wait. 6. Let's expand it up and see if we can just find a boss that's... Okay, that gives us some options. Oh, see you, kitty. Alrighty. Could do a bronze dragon. Could do another dragon, although I'm kind of hesitant about doing a dragon because we already have a dragon mission. There's a huge giant crab. That must be a coastal one. Hold on, I'm just curious. Let's get rid of these. And let's get rid of coastal. What kind of underwater monsters do we have to work with? Like, what kind of bank is there? I've never really done anything underwater, but it occurs to me that that's just kind of a shame. You know, that's a really cool setting. It's a really cool set piece to possibly work with here. So let's go ahead and move up here. Okay, that's going to be a little too high for level 6 here. 7, yeah, look at that. It just skips. So there are plenty of them, but they're just... I might just have to do like water elementals and boost it up. Hey, Spooky, how's it going? Working on continuing to work on outlining all of the missions that are going to be in place for this area that we're working on. I've been hemming and hawing about whether I want to keep working on the outline or actually work on detailing some stuff, and I've realized that I want to get the outlines figured out. Because I want to know where everything kind of goes, so that way when I'm writing in details, I can write in potential interactions between different missions and everything. And so right now I'm trying to think about creating... I was having issues, I was looking at the map over the weekend and feeling like, man, things are getting almost claustrophobic with how much stuff has already been plopped down over here. Why does it feel so crowded? And it occurred to me that I have a whole half of the map that I'm not using because it's water. And this is D&D. There's magic and shit. Like, there's no reason to not use water as a set piece. So I'm trying to work on coming up with a decent underwater mission here. That, like, basically will just have them somehow, for some reason or another, magically wind up underwater, having to deal with that. I haven't really thought about it too specifically yet. But we'll get there. And so I'm thinking we could do something like have a network of water elementals that have, you know, that have historically, just like catching an idea in my brain space here. Maybe there's like water elementals or something like that, or looking at some of these others, like the Kraken Priest or something like that. The Sahuagins would be good. Could do those guys. And I like what I'm thinking is, like, if there's a group of, you know, creatures that live underwater that have been known to, and there's records, like, historical from before, from, like, unhinging times, that they've been known to capture ships, you know, and sink them, so that, like, if you can find them, maybe there's, or where that all happened, there's, like, a bunch of, like, shipwreck areas that are, like, it's known where those things happen. So if they are able to find a way to go underwater down to where, like, the water elementals lived and stuff like that, then they could do some treasure hunting in those areas or something like that. Is kind of what I'm thinking, just to give them a motivation. Yeah, an island that appears, that could work. That could definitely work. I'd probably have to do a little bit of land modification, but shit, that's so easy. I mean, you just freaking paint some land here to make some more islands. I could do that. It's not a bad idea. Okay, I'm gonna re-include coastal in here. I'm just trying to, right now the struggle is I'm trying to find in the appropriate level range that I'm looking for as far as challenge goes. I'm trying to find something that will be decent for the players. Oh my gosh, because there's a whole crap ton of low and high challenge things, but it's not a whole lot in this middling range that I need here. Something like 6, 7, or 8. You know, like we've got a young bronze dragon, but we already have a dragon, so I don't know, that feels a little more, I don't know, monotone to do it that way. I do like the idea of the Sahuagins. These guys are creepy, and I'm pretty sure there's a couple different levels of them. Let me just check and make sure I'm remembering that right. Let's get rid of those. Do is it Gin? Where is it? Sahuagin. And see what they've got here. Oh yeah, there's even more. There's so many of them. They've got... Ooh, that's good. That's helpful. That's helpful. They've got some higher and lower challenge ratings for these guys too. So we can have like a Blade Master. That'd be an appropriate thing. They just for some reason don't have them listed as coastal or underwater. Oh, I see where you're going. I smell what you're stepping in there, Spooky. Like if they, like it's like an Indiana Jones type thing where it's like taking the treasure triggers the trap, you know, and that makes the island sink. You know, like the boulder that destroys the temple or something like that, which is always confusing. Why would you design a temple to be destroyed? Don't you want it there to honor the deceased? But whatever. You know, I think that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, like they go to the island and they get trapped there and just make it so that it's ridiculously near impossible. I mean, you know, the rules of yes and if they try to escape, it is possible, but extremely difficult for them to escape that scenario, and they wind up like trapped underwater because of it or something like that, and they're like in this temple that's just like been brought underwater. It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, something like what you're saying there, where it's like the island's empty at first. What I was thinking is the island brings them down, right, and they find themselves in this like network of magical currents or something that brings them to like, there's almost like a Rapture style, you know, from BioShock. There's like a Rapture style underwater city that's like, at this point in time, because of the unhinging, everything is just all kinds of messed up, even from the perspective of the Sahuagins here. And they go down, and there's like a series of magical currents that bring them to different locations on the sea floor, and that's kind of like, you know, and like it almost like kind of like what I'm doing with the temples, where it's like maybe any of these islands, if like there's one of them that there's an explicit clue that goes to, but like if they're just out sailing, they randomly come across any of these islands that have like some sort of shrine or something that would take them down, and it just takes them down to a different location in the ocean, and there's different places that bring them into places. That would work. Do I have God in my... So I utilize a lot of the... I utilize a lot of the pantheon that exists for D&D, and then I just kind of modify it to make it sort of fit my homebrew a little bit more. So yes, but within the lore of my world, a lot of it is more so, it's less to do like with gods being some sort of otherworldly or all-powerful thing. It's more so that the gods are basically just the first mortal creatures that found ways through magic to enter whatever ethereal plane they're the lord over, right? So frick, what's his name, the dragon guy, Bahamut. So Bahamut like he was just like when he was born he was just a dragon, but over the years he became so powerful in magic and everything that he sort of found a way to enter to enter Mount Celestia, and that's kind of where he took up residence. So he's considered a god, but he wasn't like born a god. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it could be something that a water god did. I mean, with the unhinging, given the tears and everything like that, it could just be a rift. Like there's a series of rifts at the ocean floor or something like that, that suck them down. That like it's. Oh, you know what? It could be. Like we could do that where it's the rifts, but I just had an idea. It's not that the Sahuagins they're like the Swahagins I lost my train of thought. Damn it. It was so close. It was so close. So close. Oh, hey, Eldritch. Oh, shit, Eldritch, I didn't even notice that you were... Oh, yeah, you were here. Sorry, I totally missed it. You know how it randomly assigns colors for your names? Well, this time around it assigned you guys both the exact same color, which is not... Well, maybe it didn't, because I'm colorblind. Like, I'm literally partially colorblind, and I didn't even notice. So glad to see you, Eldritch, and glad to see that you're working on your homebrew. That's exciting. That's fun stuff to do, and diving into doing some religion. That's exciting. That's really fun. Oh yeah, permanently set purple. Okay, well yeah, especially for that, like purples. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Spooky. That definitely is much more visually functional for me. Yeah, purples. So I'm red-green colorblind. I can still, as individual colors, see red and green, but when they're not like a bright green or a bright red, they become very dull and hard for me to distinguish. So purples are difficult for me because they all just kind of look navy blue because I can't really see the red in them very well. The other ones are like olive greens, just kind of look brown to me because I can't pick out the green very well in it. So, so yeah, there's some irony in that. So you guys might even be completely different shades of purple or something like that. I wouldn't even know. Because my stupid busted up eyes are broken and useless. Oh, lordy. Oh, lordy. I didn't even know I was colorblind. That's the funny thing about it. I didn't even know I was colorblind until, like, I don't know, I think it was, like, in college or something like that. It was, like, college or grad school. Because I had this sweatshirt that I love. It's one of my favorite sweatshirts. Super comfy sweater. And I always thought it was, like, this dark gray color. And I was just sitting and hanging out with friends. And like I don't even remember what the conversation was, but in some way, shape, or form, I mentioned that like the sweater I was wearing was one of my favorite sweaters. I was like, and I just said, I was like, yep, it's my favorite gray sweater. It goes with everything. And they all gave me this look like I was a psycho. And I was like, what? What's up? And they're like, that sweater's not gray, it's green. And it turns out it's like this forest green color that I don't see as green because I'm red-green colorblind. And I was like so confused for the longest time. I was like, what are you talking about? It's gray. It's a dark gray. And so then the next time I had an eye appointment, I had them do one of those colorblind tests, and yep, sure enough, I'm red-green colorblind. It's like, well, geez, never even knew. Like, I always knew that some greens weren't very pretty to me, and that red was never my favorite color because it wasn't as vibrant to me as other colors. But beyond that, I had no idea. So that's a fun little story time for you guys. Definitely pulled me away from whatever thought processes I had going on, and I have no idea what I was working on. So we're just gonna go ahead and go here. We're gonna do the Sahuagin. We're gonna do Sahuagin City. So I'm kind of getting attached to the idea of it being a Sahuagin. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I'm gonna assume so. But I'm getting attached to the idea of this being, like I say, like I'm really thinking of Rapture from BioShock. Down there. Ooh, that's a good idea, Spooky. You could have them be. That would make a lot of sense. Like, there's this underwater city where they were once people, and that could fit in with the idea of it being related to, an ethereal plane. Where it's like it was, or maybe it was like just the water, the elemental plane. It was like the water plane, and part of it like was ripped from the water plane and placed in the bottom of the ocean, and the Sahuagins were originally just like the original beings were just the denizens of that thing, and through the process of being transported to the mortal plane, they just kind of became these corrupted, vile, ugly creatures, is what happened to most things when that happened. And so they created these traps, which are like the islands you're talking about, that are meant to entice sailors and treasure hunters, and then it traps them down, and basically they just like capture them to like eat them or something. I don't know. Goal is to make them human again. We could do that. Although it's not a bad idea. Although I think I'd rather use that for. I almost want to save that idea for something else. You know, like I don't want to put too many good ideas in one mission, so that way I've got more ideas to utilize elsewhere. You know, and maybe just have that be some sort of like, you know, yes and type of situation. Although I like the idea of them not even actually being human, but rather like just weird creatures that once lived in the water elemental plane, and then all of the unhinging happened, and now they're just like weird ass gross out monsters. Yeah, so let's see here. I'll say a series of mysterious islands exist in a certain part of the ocean off the coast of, we'll say off the equatorial, since we're kind of at the equator of the world, the equatorial salt wind coast. Is this a certain part of the ocean off the equatorial saltwind coast? Yeah. Each island features a treasure that is easily identifiable. From a distance to any sailors passing by. If the bait is taken and the treasure is stolen. If the bait is taken and the treasure is stolen, the island will rapidly sink to the bottom of the ocean, attaching. No, not attaching. Yeah, I guess attaching. Attaching to. Oops, dang it! I spelled it right the first time and then I spelled it wrong. I got a little T happy there. I wanted to put so many T's. I like the letter T. It's a good letter. It's functional. And there's so many different ways to pronounce it. You can enunciate it, right, and add your T to it, or you can do like the glottal stop, which just makes it almost more of like a duh, right? Because you do the glottal stop. Or you can just ignore it. You can say, what about, right? You don't even say the T. You just say, what about, about. And everyone knows exactly what we're just saying. About. I don't know. Fun letter. Anywho. What was I writing? Jesus, I'm scattered. Island will rapidly sink to the bottom of the ocean, attaching to a series of underwater cities that are inhabited by corrupted and twisted creatures. Corrupted and twisted creatures that were once peaceful. Gosh dang, I can't type it all today. Corrupted twisted creatures that were once peaceful denizens of the water elemental plane. We'll say but who became corrupted when their part of said plane was ripped from its home and thrust into the mortal plane during the unhinging. Boom, there we go. Okay. And so that's what it is. Mission for players. Let's see here. For players is ultimately to escape from this place. Along the way, there will be opportunities. Oh, that's a lot of P's. There will be opportunities. It's just kind of an idea I'm spitballing here. There'll be opportunities to return some or all of the cities to the water plane. Doing so, however, is not a requirement for completing the mission and escaping back to the surface. Boom. And we can just have, like, there's one teleporter that will allow them to return to the planet's surface rather than being at the bottom of the ocean. I like that. I can work with that. I can work with that. I can work with that. I can make that something. I can make something of this. Boom. Actors. We're just going to do Sahuagin people, I guess. I don't know. Sahuagin people. Let me just underline this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so Sahuagin people, the broken remnants of a once elegant population of water elemental citizens. Their bodies were morphed and their minds were twisted during the process in which the unhinging ripped their home from the water elemental plane and transplanted it to the mortal plane. There we go. When I do stuff that requires mechanics, do I do lore or mechanics first? That's a tough one, and I think really it's because, Eldritch, I think it's because, like, that's a tough one to have a steadfast rule, because it depends. It depends on what I'm working on, why I'm working on it, and where the idea comes from. I don't know. It's hard to describe. I feel like it's just kind of an amorphous process that just sort of depends on where my head's at the time when it comes to mechanics. I guess I would tend to lean mechanic first because usually when I'm coming up with something that's homebrew beyond just a set piece, right? Because obviously I do a lot of homebrew stuff where it's entirely world just because I'm writing up a history about something, or creating a world that doesn't exist in the D&D rules as written and stuff like that, within the D&D lore. So that stuff, obviously. But when it comes to a mechanics thing, I guess it tends to be like I have an idea for mechanics. For example, like doing the why am I blanking on words? Golly, I am bad with words today. Doing the enchantment and the spell embodiment stuff. So if I'm doing a magic item, I'm with you, Eldritch. I tend to do the mechanics first, because usually what it comes down to is there's something that I have in mind that I want to exist from a gameplay standpoint. And so I will start off by making that item, and then I will come up with some sort of reason why it exists in the world. Like, I will try and explain why it exists. Because I guess that kind of comes from, like, my baseline with lore is I will try to create lore based on the mechanics that exist. And if they just don't exist, like, if those mechanics just don't exist how I want them, I'll come up with a way to create them for the sake of my game, and for the sake of what my players are after. So yeah, I guess I'm with you. I guess I tend to do mechanic first, but that's not based off of some sort of deep-seated set rule, that I have. There's no steadfast, like, oh, I insist on doing it this way. That just kind of is how it ends up being. Oh, nice, doing like flying islands. That sounds like that's like it sounds like you're talking about like pirates and like floating islands and stuff. That sounds a lot like the Treasure Planet, is what that immediately makes me think of, right? Where it's like pirates but like flying and stuff, which is awesome. I love that aesthetic. That is such a cool aesthetic. It's kind of a shame that movie wasn't bigger. It's a shame that movie wasn't bigger than it was. I love that. I love that idea. I think that's an awesome idea. I think that's an absolutely awesome idea, for sure. Where was I? Sahuagin people, that's right. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm not even going to necessarily flesh out an actual boss. Because there will be a boss, but it's like, it's more so just like everyone's kind of reacting instinctively. They've been kind of turned into almost a more animalistic state, is sort of what I have in mind. Dragon Hunters cartoon. I'm not familiar with that, but it sounds, if it's like what you're describing, it sounds like it's something that I ought to check out. I'm in need of a new binge show. I was binging Steven Universe, and I finished that this weekend. And of course I bawled my eyes out because that is such a beautiful show. But now I'm in need of another show to binge. So maybe I'll have to check that one out. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Gotcha. I thought that was going to be the name of the show, and I was like, I haven't heard of this before. It still is true, though, that I'm looking for a new binge show. Although I'm thinking I'm going to binge, side note, and aside from the stuff that I'm actually working on here, I'm thinking I want to binge Cobra Kai. Because, Cobra Kai on Netflix, because I am a huge fan of the old school Karate Kid movies. And I haven't watched any of it, and apparently there's 3 seasons. And I learned that they got the original cast, or at the very least they got the actors that did Danny LaRusso and Johnny Johnny Lawrence. They got those 2 actors to be back in it, and that's just absolutely amazing to me. So I think I gotta binge that one next. Hi, Kitty. Are you gonna come help me write? Okay, yep, she's gonna help me. I know. Hi, Kitty. Let's see. I'm supposed to be writing here. Dang it. Story beat. Stop distracting me with all your cool conversation topics. I can't focus on being productive. So story beats. So I think for this one, actually, what I'm gonna do is, we're just going to do. I'm just gonna call them all underwater cities, and then we're going to do level 1 through 6 here, and and we're just gonna plant down 6 underwater cities, and it's gonna be like the players can just kind of get to them in whatever order they get to them. Like there's gonna be a network of like underwater currents that just would transport them from one city to the next in their search to try and escape. I know, little kitten. Oh, you are very sweet right now. Oh, you are very happy to be snuggling. This cat, she's been super all over me lately. Oh, nice. Small dragon gathering up into a bigger one. That's, what's the one show? There's the one show, Voltron, where it was like the kids and they're like animal robots or something like that, and they would like form up to form a big giant like fist fighting Gundam type thing. Friggin', that's even before my time. That was 80s. I only know about that because of my sister. She's older than me, and she was like an 80s kid, so she taught me all kinds of 80s lore. Alright, so underwater cities, a series of underwater cities that can be accessed in any order by players. Each one is set to a different level of difficulty, so players may have to figure out how to escape without combat if they wind up in a city that is too difficult for them. Boom, there we go. That's easy. That's an easy one to plan. That's like, there's the outline right there, and I just gotta plop down a bunch of little placeholders for underwater cities on this map, and then I'll like add some more detail. But I'm thinking to like put this one over here, because there's not gonna be necessarily an explicit hook to bring them in, and it's just gonna be them kind of coming across these places. I want to kind of plant these little islandy things around in here, so that way players can possibly come across them when they're sailing either down to this island from Beppomat or over to this one. So there we go. Ooh, Power Rangers. Yeah, Power Rangers. Yeah, good call. Good call. Power Rangers is a similar one. Although I wasn't as into Power Rangers as a kid. Not for any particular reason. It's not like I disliked them. It never clicked with me. I don't know why, really. It just never did. Never did. I was too busy watching other cartoons. There were so many cartoons. You know, for anyone as a kid, there's so many cartoons. There's only so much time you can spend watching cartoons. There's only so many time slots, because that was back in the days of cable when you couldn't just like stream things. Like, I am old enough to remember a time without Netflix. Despite, you know, what my parents' generation likes to think about my generation, you know, the fact is we remember some olden times before modern day technology. It existed. I was alive for some of it. So yeah, you had to pick your times wisely. Oops, hold up. This is work email. Hopefully it's not what on earth did they send me? Oh, okay, that's not a big deal. Okay, gosh. I have a coworker who tends to like send emails that make it sound like things are like urgent and desperately happening without really offering context. So you have to open up the email, and then the attachment, she'll be like, "I just received this in the mail. What do we do with this?" And I'm like, I don't know. What are you talking about? Like, what level of severity is this? Is it like, did we receive a bomb in the mail? Did we receive junk mail? I don't know what we received. And then I'll open it up a little bit. Oh, okay, yeah, this isn't a big deal. In this situation, it was a permit request. Not a big deal. We get those all the time. It's not even anything that I have to do. It's something that we're being made aware of by other departments within our division. Oy vey. I don't know. What icon would be good for just like a weird underwater city or something? Fuck, I don't know. What am I supposed to do with this? I've backed myself into
Oh,
here we go. We'll just put an anchor. We'll just put like a little anchor symbol for all of these. Just be like, and I'm just gonna put them. Oh, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna place them like all hexagon style. Ba-boom. 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 There we go. That's not quite a full hex. That's not a very good hexagon. Hold on. I'm going to close this side in a little bit here. I'll bring that up there. And we'll bring that one up there. There we go. There we go. Okay, yeah, so I had previously been using Asgar, actually. But I, rather than importing and implementing it, I just remade the map. I had my copy of my Asgar map pulled up off to the side, and and just used that as reference to remake it. And I did that. I sort of made myself do that as an exercise to learn the functionalities of this one and learn how to make maps and land masses and stuff within this tool. So I remade it. What map maker am I using? So nowadays I'm using, this is called Wonderdraft. All one word. And it's the sister project to what I've been using for the dungeon maps, which is Dungeon Draft. And the reason I made the switch to these ones is because they're designed to be they're designed to directly integrate with the Foundry virtual tabletop system, which is what I've switched to using for my online D&D sessions. And they're made to interact, so that way when you have like interactable objects, and it's much more prevalent in the Dungeon Draft when you're making an actual battle map, like a dungeon map type of thing. Like when you have walls and lights and doors and windows and all that kind of stuff, it's all interactable, and when you directly upload it, it keeps those things like the same type of interactable within Foundry as it was in Dungeon Draft when you're making it. So that's why I've elected to use them. They're not necessarily they're certainly not the only good map making tools, and they're not even necessarily the best one, but for what for the easy integration for other systems that I am using, they were the pretty clear choice for me. So that's what I've been using these days, and I do recommend them. I've been having tons of fun with them. I've been getting largely pretty adept at using them. I mean, I'm still clumsy in some places, but they're intuitive enough that it does not take long to learn how to use them. We're going to do Sahuagin City. And I'm going to... My cat is being such a ham today. She is just absolutely hamming it up for attention today, and it's adorable. It is absolutely adorable. I am obsessed with my cat. We're just going to label all these Sahuagin cities. And we'll relabel them. But like basically kind of what I'm thinking I'll do is I'll finish off like the DM version of the map with all of the labels as I would need them as a DM. And we'll save a copy of that, and then we'll relabel everything for a player map. And so all of these will just be labeled like Mysterious Island or something like that. And we'll do it that way for the player map. But yeah, we'll just do that, and I think that'll be easy enough. Like, so players, when they're taking a boat, you know, to either come over here, or if they wanted to go back up there, they can, while they're traveling, you know, depending on how they travel, you know, make it almost just like part of the random table options, depending on where they are, that they could see one of these islands that has sort of like a fool's gold type of treasure in place for people to run into. You know, and give it to them randomly. I agree 100%, Welkin. It's Asgar. I do still highly recommend Asgar. It was an amazing tool for me especially when I was first trying to get into actively making maps rather than just conceptually having a map in my brain and just sort of like writing things down without mapping them out. When I was first making the switch over to there, trying to figure out how to aesthetically make a map as well as trying to organize a map for the sake of a D&D game, Asgar was incredibly helpful. And the thing with Asgar, on top of it being free, is it's web-based. You need to make sure you save the specific link, you know, the specific seed for your map. Otherwise, it could just randomly regenerate a new map every time you go to it. But as long as you save that, you can work on that map from different computers. So if you have different workstations that you like to use, It's very handy for that type of situation, and it's all online, so you can really do it from any computer. I don't need that as bad anymore because when I'm doing map making, I'm sitting at this computer. But there was a time in my life when I might have been traveling a lot more and had different computers and stuff, and so having it be web-based was really handy. The other thing that's really handy about it being web-based is if you're strapped for storage space when it comes to like, high quality maps and the amount of data it would take to store a high quality image like that. If you're strapped for space or if you're making a lot of different maps, it's all web-based, so you don't have to worry about that. And that was one thing that was really wonderful for me. And I always kind of have in the back of my mind, like, I may one day have to get an external hard drive exclusively for all of the maps that I make, because I love making maps and I never get rid of them. So I have tons and tons of maps that I've created on various programs and stuff like that. And that's one of the benefits of doing the Asgar as well. So I think Welkins has a very good suggestion in checking out Asgar. It is still a wonderful wonderful tool. I just made the switch over to this because doing it this way makes it a lot easier for me to integrate and have interactable maps for my players on Foundry. But if you're looking for inexpensive ways to run games and do all that kind of stuff, you won't be using Foundry anyway. You'll probably still want to stick with at least a potentially free option like Roll20. So yeah, this is a more powerful tool, and it's localized on your computer, which has its advantages. But because it's more powerful and a bit more advanced, it's definitely a better option for if you know this is going to be an ongoing hobby that you will stick with for a long time, which I know is true for me because I have been doing this hobby for like roughly 10 years of my life now. And they're also much more valuable if you have a consistent group that you're playing with and need to have good, effective, powerful tools for running the games. So yeah, no, I think that you can't go wrong with Asgar. This, even though I'm not using it, I still think it's a wonderful tool. Wonderful tool for people to use. Let me see. I gotta be watching my time. I think I still got a little bit of time left. Hold on. Let me just double check. Let me double check my calendar. I always gotta keep a good close eye on my calendar. Yeah, I still got a little bit of time. Little tiny bit of time. So that gives us. Let's see. I am just gonna put a note here. Boss will be a Sahuagin. I did that wrong. Sahuagin. It's still gonna come up with the little red squigglies. The Sahuagin Blade Master. That'll be like the final boss. Sahuagin Blade Master. Blad Master. Sorry, Blade Master. Be a Sahuagin Blade Master. Gosh dang it, stupid allergies making my nose itch like crazy right now. And now I gotta go through the process of telling myself to not scratch my nose because that never actually improves it. It just makes it feel better while I'm actively scratching it. And then I stop scratching it, and it just starts itching again, and it'll do this for hours if I don't force myself to stop and just power through the itch. God, it sucks though. I just hate my stupid nose. This doesn't count. I'm itching my face, not my nose. It's different. Well, my nose is part of my face, but like, it's different. It's different, and you know it. Don't judge me. But this boss has no unique personality and is just insane like the rest of them. There. Isn't that sweet? The family that's psycho together stays together. But no one wants them to. Alright, change the color here. So, okay, let's see if we can't squeeze in. Oh wait, no, we don't need to do 5 because the 5 that's going to be the Cyclops. So that's Ignatius the Cyclops. That's the one that I've already had written for quite a while. Level 5. So that's the one that terminates at level 5. And that's the one that's on the island. That's one that my players are presently in the middle of doing. So we don't need to worry about that. I'm just going to put a note. Steal the info from the old section. Right, because I'm rewriting this area because I've sort of changed the scale of my hexes based on this new mapping system. So there we go. I love when I can steal from myself. That's one of my favorite things ever. I used to plagiarize myself all the time in school too. When I would have papers that were similar, I would take the same paper and then edit it and tweak it as needed to make it more appropriate for the new assignment. I would do that shit all the time. Do that all the time. Let's see here. The Grand Line from the anime One Piece. I am familiar with One Piece, but I cannot honestly say that I have ever been like a big fan that has consistently kept up with it. And it was never a staple for me as a kid, like growing up. Like I've got some friends that like One Piece was just, oh my gosh, they loved One Piece. It was always part of their life. And it never really held that for me. So when you say One Piece, generally speaking, the aesthetic and the idea of it is familiar to me. But when you start talking about like specific storylines and stuff in it, that goes over my head. But that said, knowing what One Piece is, I can definitely see that as being an inspiration, and I might just have to peruse some Wikipedia pages if I'm looking for some ship-based ones. But even just you seeing, mentioning One Piece and me thinking about pirate ships, it would be cool to do a mission that is on the ocean, but there are no islands or land masses, nor is there some gimmick to get them at the bottom of the sea. And instead, it's just like the encounters, like the battle maps, rather than being actual battle maps, are instead a series of like boat encounters where they're on their ship and maybe they just like come up upon some sort of like, there's another boat, or there's, I don't know, some sort of shipwreck or some sort of like cliffside thing, so that the map is half the boat and then half other things that are like on in a more static place, and it's just them like sort of like docking and like boarding whatever other thing. I like that idea. Shoot, I was itching my nose. Dang it. I always notice after I've been doing it. Shit. Damn it. Let's see here. What kind of... I feel like that would be... Well, first off, let me go to my consistency guide here for challenge level. So we're doing a level 4. Boss is CR4. Okay. So let's go ahead and do challenge rating 4 and 4. Get rid of the Sahuagin there. And instead, let's call it coastal, because I don't want underwater. I just want coastal for this if it's going to be above water. A sea hag! Ooh, that's perfect. We could definitely do some shit. Oh, look at her. She's not so ugly. I mean, come on. Like, she's like one of them old ladies that you're like, you were a real looker when you were a kid, right? You broke some hearts. Like, look at her. She broke some hearts. I mean, she's got that pretty long hair, and you can see all those ribs. She's got the supermodel bod right there. I mean, come on. Maybe I should see someone about this weird. Let's see here. Grand Line. Let's see here. They have their own magnetic fields and point to another island. That Grand Line is surrounded with a calm belt. It's a big space where there aren't any sea current or wind, so navigating the ship is kind of impossible. Oh, okay, that's interesting. That could be a grand, sort of like an interesting idea to incorporate. I feel like that would almost be bigger than what I've got left to flesh out, though. I almost want to save that idea for one of the other coastal hexes that I will inevitably get to and start writing. But that's a good idea. I might have to read into that. That's an interesting concept. And it would be a fun one to throw in, because there's going to be, like, just because I'm an outlier doesn't mean that the Venn diagram between One Piece fans and D&D players isn't like, there's definitely an overlap in that Venn diagram. So that would be a good, fun callback for players. They could be like, hey, wait, is this the one thing for One Piece? I could be like, yeah, it is. Like, everyone loves callbacks. Everyone loves homages, is the sort of polite way to say it. Eldritch, you are not wrong. There are definitely people, like, there are people who like seeing that and thinking like, oh yeah, like there's far stranger things than even that exist in the world. And I'm not judging. I'm not about to kink shame here, but I will say if we're going jokes aside, not for me. Not for me. I've got my own things, but I'm not going to talk about them here because I'm not an open book, and this is not that kind of stream. So there's how's that for a little worm dangling in front of you little fishies. Yeah, you know what? She could have a great personality. That's just it. You know, I might not personally tap that, but I'd be willing to give a conversation a shot. I don't know. Maybe she's like really kick-ass at swimming, and she knows how to, you know, give you some tips that could make Michael Phelps look like a slow poke. Oh, I see what you're saying, Welkins. I see what you're saying. That's a cool. I mean, I think it's just cool that you're incorporating that. I love trying to incorporate other lore into mine. You know, like some people call it stealing. I call it homage. Either way, it's, you know, I think there's a lot of validity to using what exists and incorporating that into it, because like it does two things. One, it helps you overcome writer's block. It does actually a lot of things. It gives players something familiar to latch onto, and I think there's a lot of value in that. It's a good creative exercise too. Honestly, like there's value in, as just a creative exercise, trying to take something that exists and modifying it for your needs. I think that's valuable. I mean, hell, that's kind of what the editing process is. It's just that you're taking something that you created and then editing it so that it is more so what you wanted to create, right? So I think there's a lot of validity to that. You know, as long as you're not delving into copyright infringement by just like flat out copying, I think that's a really cool idea. I like it. But yeah, let's do a CHAG thing. Let's do a CHAG. Let's at least start outlining a CHAG stuff. The CHAG. That's our level 4 one. So if there's a CHAG. Okay. Hear me out. There's a guy whose spouse, his wife, during the unhinging or something like that. No, I wouldn't do that. That's too old. Okay, hold on. Scrap that. But the basic idea, it's still there. Okay. We rescale. A guy and his wife, they were treasure hunters, right? And they wanted to go out, and they got themselves a boat, and they were just going to go coast hopping. They were just going to go along the coast, going from place to place, finding different cities, different caves and stuff like that, and just adventure. And they accidentally got themselves into a situation, they found a cave, right? They found a cave. Who doesn't find a cave when you're going for the coast? Like, that's just a staple. You found a cave. So they found a cave, and in that cave there was some object that felt like it was really magical, and he was too afraid to touch it. But his wife was like, you wuss, I'm gonna check this thing out. And she went and touched it, and it turned her into a CHAG. And the guy wants his wife back. And so the mission is to go not kill the CHAG, but capture her and bring her back to him. And he's got like some sort of like weird ass secret hideout where he's gonna like try and rehabilitate her. And that's all the mission is. You just have to capture the CHAG. You don't kill her, you have to capture her. Like, that would be, yeah, and that's what they got to do. And if they kill her, then the guy's gonna be real sad. I like this one. And then that's a fun one, because that sets up, there can just be like random like interactions in the city, where it's like they're in the city and they can like shoot, don't itch your nose, Scott, don't itch your nose, don't do it. Yeah, it just itches. And you can just have random encounters where they're just walking down the street of the big city, right? The secured city, and you see him, and he's got like his CHAG wife, and like maybe she's like got a harness on so he can keep track of her, but like the rehabilitation is kind of working, so she's just like using CHAG like vocalizations to like have conversations, and he's like reteaching her how to buy produce at the market or something like that. Oh my god, I'm immediately in love with this idea. I'm immediately in love with this idea. I'm much more with you, Welkins. I don't like and this is not in any way meant to be shade at Eldritch, at your 100% improv approach to things, because we kind of already talked. Like it's just a difference in method preference. For me, I don't really improv. I avoid improving too much in the moment anyway, just because I like things to be sort of consistent. But my big thing too is I don't like reinventing the wheel. So if there's a way to have at least a foundation to start with, like a pre-generated map that then you know, like modify and stuff like that, like if there's a way to do stuff without reinventing the wheel, I like to do that just because it saves time, and then it gives me more time to focus on the stuff that I am then making up from scratch. Yeah, improv because you're not good at planning. That's, you know what, fair cop. Hey, at least you know who you are, and you have figured out how to work with that. Yeah, no. Let's see, what do you got, Wilkins? Yeah, no. I mean, like the thing is, Wilkins, I don't think there's any shame in never being 100% improv. Although I think it also kind of depends on what you mean by improv too. Like doing 100% improv, or rather not doing 100% improv doesn't even necessarily mean 100%, you know, taking things from other people or stuff like that. Like it can still be different. Like improv is to me just like in the moment, and stuff like that. But for me, I like, depending on how tightly you use the term improv, you could argue that I don't ever improv, because I approach every session, because I'm like the opposite of Eldritch, where I overplan all the time. You know, to a fault. And so I've always got random tables of names or people they can encounter. You know, I've always got fleshed out, like, oh, here are the shops in the city, and here are the shopkeepers. I've always got, as you can see what I'm working on here, I've always got my, you know, my outline of what missions exist in an area when players are going about it. So depending on how you use the term improv, I do next to no improv. But I do definitely take a lot of inspiration from other places and do modifications that way. I will absolutely use tools that will pre-generate like at least a skeleton. Like I love using the Donjon website that's got a random dungeon generator. I almost every time I'm making a dungeon, I start off there and then I edit it from there. You know, I make don't itch the nose, damn it, and I will modify it from there. And like I say, for me, a lot of it is because, especially for just those foundational things that are super non-specific to a setting or a storyline or a character or things like that, using those non-specific starting points saves a lot of time, right? Because they exist, so I don't have to spend as much time, you know, obsessing over, you know, how many rooms to do in this thing, or how do I arrange the rooms. I can just like click a button, it generates. It's like, okay, here are some rooms. I don't like this one. I know I need to add this type of thing to it, so let's add those and go from there. And it takes a lot less time. It takes a lot of time off the planning process. And I just itched my nose again, and I need a human version of like those dog cones that you put on so the dog doesn't bite at its stitches and stuff. Like I need something like that. But like, yeah, maybe just put little cones around my hands so that way I can't reach my face with my hands. Just like bump my face. But then I would just use the edge of the cone to scratch the nose. It wouldn't work. I'm too smart. Oh gosh. All right, let's see here. The Sea Hag. So the Sea Hag. I'm just gonna write down. Looking at my time here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write down the baseline idea that we were kind of going over, and then I think at that point I'm going to have to call it, because I'm running, yeah, I'm getting close to my next quote-unquote appointment. I keep a tight schedule for myself, and it's not necessarily that I have appointments, but I plan out each day and set aside time for all the different projects that I've got going on in my life, and I work very hard to make sure I don't skip on one of those projects for other projects. As well with like my actual job and stuff like that. And I don't know. I've got a lot of personal philosophies, but we don't have time for me to explain all those. Say Hagar, see gal, see waifu, see. What would it be like instead of tsundere? It's tsundere. Oh God. Let's see, Hag. A man and his wife were out treasure hunting when they came across some mysterious object. The husband thought it was bad news, but the wife thought he was being a little bitch and went to grab the object. The object was of course cursed, and it turned her into a sea hag. The husband ran away because he's a little bitch, but he feels bad and is convinced his wife is still in there and can be saved. He will reward players handsomely if they can find her, capture her, and bring her back to him so that he can heal her. There we go. A phallic shape. No, I feel like that's a little too on the nose there, Eldritch. If we get to that point, capture. I'm not necessarily uninjured. Just captured alive. They can injure her. They might have to injure her. I don't know. That's at the very least. Like, he's obviously going to prefer if she's uninjured. But that's not. It's not a requirement. It's not going to be a specified requirement. So we'll just say capture her alive, and we'll just leave it at that. And they can bring her in without legs. I think, yeah, like I don't know. I feel like the process of removing said legs that might kill her. That's not a minor injury at that point in time. But it's still possible. And break the legs. Yikes. Yeah, they could do that. We'll leave it up to the players to decide how they're going to do that. You know, that's the beauty of Yes And. It's just like, yep, nope, she just has to be alive. Does that mean we can break her legs? Yeah, it does. Can do that. Exactly, Wilkins, as long as they bring her in. That's all that's required. You spare the dying. It counts. It'll be up to the players entirely. That's the beauty of D&D. I don't have to decide what the perfect ending is here. I can let them decide what their perfect ending is. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, we'll plot some stuff out, but we'll do that next time. And maybe we'll just maybe it's like it happened around here, and there's a few places around in this area. So maybe there's like another little cave or cove over on this island that they can explore, and just do some islandy type stuff here. Maybe I'll just plop another island somewhere that they can do that with. I don't know. Ah, hell, I don't know. Maybe it's over here and they have to island hop all over this, and like they had originally found the object here and she's holed up in there or something. I don't know. The world is literally at my fingertips right here. You can't see it. I did this to it because it's my fingertips, and now I'm looking at it and thinking about it, and it's a little creepy. So we're just going to go ahead and pretend it didn't happen. So with that, I think I'm going to call it a session. Future want to stream the sessions or keep them private? It is. I think it would be great fun to stream them. That said, there are a lot of question marks about that, including right now. I have a lot of ideas of things that I want to do with my stream in general, both with video gaming and with writing. But I'm nearing a time. The freedom to do streaming has been afforded to me by COVID, resulting in me working from home. Working from home has freed up a lot of time, so that I've been able to like use my lunch hours to do this. Like that's largely what I am when I'm streaming. I'm largely on my lunch hour for that. So I would very much love to continue streaming, but there will come a time when my employers, and they're presently debating right now, and they are talking about allowing us to continue to work from home because it's worked. It saves money because they don't have to rent office space. So there's talk. So I'm hopeful, but my ability to continue streaming, at least in the same way that I have been doing it, really depends on that continuing to be a situation. And I'm hesitant to dive into too many new projects streaming-wise, because if it's all going to go belly up in a couple months because we're all required to go back to the office, then it's a lot of wasted time and effort, and I'd rather just sort of keep having fun with it as it is and then reassess when that time comes and then move forward with that. So a lot of that goes there. Yes, no, I know you were talking about the play sessions. I'm getting there. So the play sessions kind of fall into that. I would very much I think it would be fun to stream them, but it's going to depend heavily on what my players want. Because these are games that existed before I started streaming, they are 100%, they belong 100% to the group collective, not just me. They are not my games, they are our games. So the process of streaming them is not entirely up to me. And so I think it would be fun, and I have thought about bringing the idea up to one or both of my groups. But that said, a lot of how often we can play, the feasibility of being able to stream them, setting up whatever we would need to be able to stream them, getting people to stay consistently available to have at least a somewhat consistent streaming schedule, a lot of that is going to depend on them and their work situations, because most of them are also working from home. So there's really what it is there is just a lot that is there's a lot that is unknown right now. And so yes, I would love to stream sessions. I would love to expand my streaming and just do more with streaming. It's so much fun and I love doing it. I'd very much love to do that. But my ability to do that is very dependent on a lot of things that are out of my control at the moment. So for now, it won't be happening in the near future, but it is not out of the question. Yeah, so we'll see. I remain hopeful that we can expand and maybe do some sessions, some D&D sessions, and expand some more streaming. I remain hopeful that it can happen, but it's just not entirely up to me at the moment. So stay tuned, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's the upshot there, is just stay tuned and find out. Eldridge said it's totally fine. I like I say, I'm getting ready to sign off here as well. I just wanted to address that because I know I've been asked a couple different times about different streaming stuff that I want to kind of, that other people are interested in seeing from me and stuff that I'd be interested in doing. So I just figured I'd address that. But yeah, I need to get myself going as well. Like I say, I've got other projects and other stuff I got to work on today. And as much as I would love to sit here for more and more hours, I can't. So with that said, thank you everyone who stopped by. This was a good streaming session. It was actually a pretty productive one. Got a lot of stuff done. And, had some fun conversations in the process. Talking about different mapping tools, talking about CHAG waifus, all kinds of good, wholesome conversations. And that's just what makes it really fun, and it's that kind of stuff that makes me want to keep streaming and, expand my streaming if I ever can one of these days. So I appreciate that. As always, the VOD will be up on Twitch, and I will be uploading it to YouTube, so you can check that stuff out. Coming up this week, I hope this week, I will be able to stream every day. Obviously, we've got Monday here, so then, Wednesday and Friday this week, we'll do some more writing. Hopefully getting into doing some dungeon mapping as well. I kind of have to do that because I'm bumping up against everything I've already got prepared for my game sessions, so I'm going to have to start preparing some more actual in-the-moment stuff. So hopefully that will be upcoming on Wednesday and Friday, and then Tuesday and Thursday I will be continuing my Dishonored streams. Been having tons of fun with that. I love Dishonored. It's such a fun game. and I'm having fun playing that and chit-chatting with people about the merits of different approaches to playing that game. So all of them planning on streaming roughly the same time as always. There's kind of what's landed on. For me, it's kind of my noontime lunch hour, ending at around this time, maybe a little earlier. Today I started a little later because of my work schedule, but yeah, that's coming up. Maybe streaming Saturday. It sounds like we will not be able to do D&D this Saturday, which frees me up to do some streaming. But then again, it is Mother's Day, so I might use that free time to just do something a little extra special for my mommy. I'm a mama's boy. I have a wonderful, amazing mother, and I want to make sure I show her that I appreciate her on Mother's Day. So, yeah, we'll see about that on Saturday. But that's what's coming up for me. That's everything in the world as I know it. So thanks everyone for stopping by. If you watched live, thanks for being here. If you're watching the VOD, thanks for checking out, even if it's after the fact. I appreciate all of the interest. Makes it super fun. So just as always, if you're still watching, please go out and be nice to other people. You know, try and spread a smile or two. The world can be pretty dark and pretty hard for a lot of people, but we have the ability to change that, at least for the people we interact with. And if everyone had that philosophy, maybe the world wouldn't be quite as dark. So just do me a favor and try to do that, even if it's only for one person and it's only your favorite person that you try to make smile. Try to make someone smile. Be a friend to someone today. And that's my call to action, and that's everything I got for you. So thanks for stopping by, and we will catch you next time.